Welcome back to the DLOH. I'm your host, Danisha Abear, and today we're going to be discussing something that many of us struggle with: perfectionism. Maybe you felt that nagging voice that says you're not doing enough, or that you can't rest until everything is just right. Or maybe you hold yourself to an impossibly high standard and beat yourself up when you fall short. That's perfectionism. And while it may look like ambition on the surface, underneath, it can be a major source of stress, anxiety, and disconnection. In this episode, we'll explore what perfectionism really is, how it shows up in our lives, and how we can begin to untangle ourselves from it. According to the American Psychological Association's Dictionary of Psychology, perfectionism is defined as the tendency to demand of others or of oneself an extremely high or even flawless level of performance in excess of what is required by the situation. It is associated with depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and other mental health problems. There, you can hear that perfectionism isn't just wanting to do well. It's the belief that anything short of perfect is unacceptable, and often that our worth is tied to our performance. According to some experts in the field, like Dr. Brené Brown, perfectionism is a shield we use to protect ourselves from shame, judgment, and blame. Perfectionism can show up as chronic fear of failure, procrastination, like you're waiting for the perfect time to start. It can show up as overworking or burnout, harsh self-criticism, and difficulty celebrating wins. There are actually different types of perfectionism. According to psychologists Paul Hewitt and Gordon Flett, they identified 3 main types. The first one is self-oriented perfectionism, and that's when you hold unrealistically high standards for yourself. The second type of perfectionism is socially prescribed perfectionism. So that's when you believe others expect you to be perfect. And finally, the third type of perfectionism is other-oriented perfectionism. And that's when you're holding others to unrealistic standards. Again, each type can impact our mental health in different ways. But the common thread is that there is a fear of being not enough. Here's the thing. Perfectionism isn't just stressful. It's linked to serious mental health challenges. Studies show it correlates with higher levels of anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive traits, and even suicidal ideation. When we're stuck in a perfectionist loop, we don't give ourselves permission to be human. We avoid risks, fear mistakes, and often miss out on joy because we're too focused on what's not good enough. It's exhausting and it's unsustainable. But here's what I want you to hear. You are not your productivity. You are not your mistakes. And you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. Now, if you're looking to release yourself from the grips of perfectionism, one place that you can consider beginning is to use self-compassionate language. A study by Dr. Kristen Neff showed that self-compassion is linked with less anxiety and depression. Those are the two common companions of perfectionism. Replacing harsh self-criticism with kindness is the key here. So when you make a mistake, try saying something like, "I'm human and I did the best that I could with what I had in that particular moment." One practice that you can consider incorporating is when you notice the inner critic, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? The second thing to consider is redefining what success means. So instead of measuring success by perfect outcomes, try defining it by your values or your effort. An example of this is if your value is growth, then learning from your mistake is a success. This is a shift in mindset that reduces the pressure to get it right, and it opens space for experimentation. Here's a journaling prompt to think about. What does success look like when I lead with curiosity instead of control? The next thing is exposing yourself to imperfection. There can actually be freedom in imperfection. So try doing something imperfectly on purpose. Wear mismatched socks. Post a photo without editing it. Or share an unfinished idea. The discomfort is real, but it helps to desensitize you from the fear of judgment. The goal in exposing oneself to imperfection is to learn to tolerate the discomfort of perfection and realize that the world doesn't fall apart when you show up as your real, imperfect self. And finally, perfectionism often drives us to overfunction, to keep doing, fixing, tweaking, until burnout creeps in unnoticed. But growth, healing, and even creativity don't always come from pushing harder. Sometimes the most transformative thing we can do is rest. Rest is not laziness. It's essential. When we give ourselves permission to pause, we signal to our nervous system that it's safe to relax. That's when we begin to shift from survival mode into a state where true self-awareness and emotional regulation become possible. If you've been caught in the loop of never enough, rest can feel uncomfortable at first, but it's one of the most radical and restorative things you can offer yourself, especially in a culture that glorifies busyness and productivity. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to rest without guilt? Whether it's a full day off, a 10-minute walk without your phone, or just choosing not to over-explain in an email, small moments of rest help to untangle the grip of perfectionism. These are the spaces where we rebuild trust with ourselves, where self-worth isn't based on achievement, but on presence. Let rest be a part of your strategy. It's not an obstacle to your goals. It's actually a bridge to sustaining them. If perfectionism has been a part of your story, I see you. And I want you to know you're allowed to let go. You're allowed to show up messy, real, and in progress. Progress over perfection, always. If today's episode said something to you, I'd love to hear from you. Share it with someone who might need it, and let's continue the conversation on social media. Until next time, be kind to yourself and remember, you're already enough.
To say hello, oh, oh, hello.